Okay, so before we start, who here does know me? Raise your hands. Okay, that's a good. I know that you know me. Okay. Yes. So welcome to today's talk. Hello. I don't know anyone. Who are you, anyways? Five quick tips for networking. Some general advice and stuff that I found out that worked in a couple of last years. If we get the first slides going, then we can go. I'm really happy to see so many people here that I not know already. So afterwards, I will have a bigger network. All right. Like I said, so many times you go to business events, conventions, whatever, and stand around like that. Like, I don't know anyone. I'm nothing. I can't do anything. And that's the first hook. You just go to people and be like, I don't know anyone. Who are you? And that's it for the most times. So, who am I? My name is Felix Köcher. I did my Bachelor's of Intermediate Design at the FH Trier. I did my Master Digital Games at Cologne Game Lab. I'm a game designer, project manager for Cook Together and Fry or Die, our student project at the moment. I'm a passionate nerd, cook, actor, gamer, and socializer. Why should you listen to me? First of all, I got basically 10 years experience in networking, from 5 to 6 years networking in the gaming industry, to international scout camps where you just go around, meet up people, try to make up connections to connect different tribes. On festivals, I was a traveler. I went to Southeast Asia, I went to Australia, South America, and just traveling alone, you need to get to know how to meet people and how to not be alone, because if you just stay alone during the time, it's going to be really difficult and it's just not fun. And apparently people say I'm a funny guy. I don't know about that. So first of all, a disclaimer, not all that which is going to be presented is not a one-size-fits-all solution. So that are just things that help me and might help you or could help you potentially. But most of all, do your own thing. Try not to copy-paste things, because most of the time that does not work in total. And most of all, have fun. It's all business events, but still there's lots of fun to have. Yes, so first of all, the most advice I can give is be open and honest in a non-hurting way. Just try not to be a jerk. So first of all, try to have sincere interest and joy in conversations. Try to get really interested about the people, the projects, and just try to give them the feeling of appreciation of what they do. No pressure. No, don't try to like speed date to meet people and just talk to someone because, oh yeah, you're important, so just, let's get to know each other. Try to listen to people and try to ask questions. I went to some game conventions where people just told me all over the time how amazing they are, and everything I did better and nicer and cooler, and this weird American business thing. I don't know why that's the thing. And first of all, don't be a jerk. So many companies have a no jerk policy in their code of conduct, and nobody likes to hang around with a jerk or people that say hurtful things, are very toxic. And just be someone people like to talk to. That's most of all the core thing of that. So if you're just someone that likes socialize and talks to people, that's going to work out a lot of times. Then personal matters first, business last. If you just connect to people in the main thought to make business with them, most of the times it doesn't work properly, because if you don't connect on an emotional level or like on a social level with each other, you will not be able to make good business decisions together. Because if we can't have a good time, with a drink, like on a sunset bar, whatever, how are we supposed to do business when there's money on the stake and companies and cultural differences or like creative differences? So that's the first thing. If you don't get along with people on a nice casual event, for my part, I try not to work with them, because how is that supposed to work and happen? Friendship is nice but optional. You don't need to be best friends with everybody. If it happens, it's nice, but don't try to force it, because so many people, especially like young students on events, try to become best friends with a big streamer or with a big publisher, and that's a weird thing, because it doesn't work and it feels weird for people that are just there to do their business stuff, and you just be like, oh yeah, want to hang out at home in my room and watch movies. If it happens, it's cool, it's nice. I met some amazing friends on game conventions, and you just meet them all over the time. Again, you have like convention buddies and meeting buddies and stuff, so that's a cool thing. So yeah, like in the worst case, you just have convention buddies, developer friendships, people you meet and like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, nice to see you again. People I only see at conventions. We wouldn't meet out of conventions because no time, no way to think about that and organize that. So on conventions, you're like, oh, I know this one and that one. and that is like exponential growth. So you go to conventions, meet some people you know, they hang out with people you don't know, and you just can smooth in. They be like, hey, I know them, you know them, we should know each other as well. And not everybody wants to marry you. Just be considerate of the fact that people don't like to be best friends with you and don't want to, get so close with each other. Because especially like influencers, streamers, or like people that are mostly, I would say, like a little bit more important, get surrounded by people on conventions that all try to befriend them, and that's such a weird concept, kind of like social grooming in some way. But it happens sometimes. So there's some tactics that I had that worked for me in the last couple of years. Strategic loitering. Just like a tactical hang around. Just try to see, okay, where are people, socializing, what's a good bubble to dive into. Like in School of Games yesterday, there were some people sitting there, okay, nice, I can hang around there, stay around the beer, or standing close to the toilets, everywhere where people pass around, and be kind of like a clogged artery, so people, have to squeeze around you, sometimes. Division of groups. When I hang around with people on network events and we get to like 4, 5, 6 people, it's the time to split. Because then the group gets so big that you can't really properly have one group conversation. Then it's better to have like 2, 3, 4 like smaller divisions to separate that a bit. Pickup and delivery. I try to connect people with each other so many times. So on, I think, German Dev Days last year, I met Felix Köcher, only sounds music composing artist, and he was like, oh, I want to meet some other musicians. I was like, oh, okay. Picked him up. He was like, okay, here's another musician, and now do your thing, compose whatever. So many people I know are not that eager to start conversations, so sometimes I just try to, pick up delivery, be like, okay, you're a 3D artist, that's another 3D artist, or you're looking for a job, okay, so, and do this. I hope people think about that, when people remember that about me, like, oh yeah, we met because of him. And that happened to me on Nordic Game last week, 2 weeks ago, when I had some Italians I met in a Hamburg Games conference, and I was just picking them up and delivering them to every opportunity. I was like, I can't pay you, so I tried to get you contacts and jobs. Tactical beer and soda drinking. So network events like yesterday, it's a shame to not go there. If you have the opportunity to get there and get some free drinks, first of all, that's nice, and second of all, you don't need to be completely drunk, but sometimes a tactical drink together or a tactical smoke together can be a great way to socialize, like, oh, you want to have a drink as well, or can you pass me a bottle as well, or shall I open it for you? Just some easy ways to get into that bubble, I would say. Social smoking. I'm a very passionate social convention smoker, and that works quite well. If you don't smoke, it's okay. You can go out for like some fresh air breaks, but it's a weird thing to be like, oh, I want to go for a quick air break. Doesn't work. But if you're a smoker, it's really nice to just join in smoking people and have all this like smoking small talk shit, like, oh, you got a lighter, you got like filters, tobacco and stuff. So I got a Schrödinger's lighter, so when I approach people that smoke, I don't have a lighter. Of course I don't. If people approach me while I'm smoking, of course I have a lighter. So even if you don't smoke, having a lighter is a great way to join into conversations, open beers, like giving fire to people. That can work amazingly well, but that leads to me standing outside smoking and talking all day long. It's not that healthy, but it works. And don't stay in your bubble. Especially most of the indie devs I met, or like early students, they just stick together and they're afraid to break up and mix around and stuff, so they just stay like business gamescom party, they just stick together like a big bunch of 10 people from one university. And you don't look approachable with a large group like that, and you just prevent yourself from getting to know other people, And so try to mix and match, or like form smaller groups and try to mingle around, spread around, and try to use that, if you like a larger group, use that power of force of multiple people to get as much contact as possible. And then something I call ice fishing, social networking ice fishing. Works with different things. It's easier to remember that way. So, for example, you got some hooks. A hook, in my understanding, is something that gives me the opportunity to talk to someone or approach someone. For example, I got a Hawaii shirt last 2 days, but this is like my normal attire, so that's not that approachable. People will not come and be like, oh, that's a cool shirt, unless you like Slayer. But with a Hawaiian shirt, they're like, oh, I like the Hawaiian shirt and the beard and stuff, and try to sometimes find a conversation starter to dive into that. For example, like, oh, I really like your pink hair, that's nice, and how did you color it? Or, oh, the green hair, I used manic panic, you used direction, how does it go? Or if there's any shirt or Star Wars shirt, oh, I like Star Wars, how do you like the new movies? Try to find anything you can hook on to get into the conversation, start the ice breaking, without being creepy or being weird and like, I like the way your nose looks. You have very nice feet. Don't be a creep. That can work if you want to anti-socialize and de-network. Yeah, even if it's about like drinks, oh, I want to go for a drink, want to go for a pee. I met lots of people on the toilet. Like, oh, apparently we have the same rhythm. We're like bladder buddies. It's the third time I met this guy while having a pee. Like, let's not shake hands, but we're kind of like connected. Let it go with flow. And then baiting. In my opinion, a bait is something you lay out for people to get a hook on. So for me, it's like the colorful hair, the dreadlocks, the beard, the Hawaiian shirts. That's a bait I give for people to have the opportunity to hook on that and talk to me. Just to look approachable. That can be everything from having a Star Wars pin, having colorful hair, to having a shirt, or anything that could give people a potential reason to talk to you. And that's sometimes difficult because it has to like suit your personality, like fits to you personally, and doesn't look weird. So like when I wear a suit, like a formal suit, it's like a costume. It doesn't convey what I am or who I am. But the Hawaiian shirts are kind of like the smooth way on the edge between that's like formal and looks serious business stuff, but still funky. Icebreakers are like on Tinder or like Lavu or like any kind of social whatever. Just the first like initial conversation is the most difficult one, because once you're in the flow, you talk and stuff, and then you remember like how did we meet? Like I don't know. So for icebreakers. They can be heavy situational, so how did you like the talk? So when you guys move out here later on and have a smoke, you're like, oh, how do you like the talk? Do you think the guy was weird or funny? I don't know. Do you know where the toilet is? How do you came here? Where are you from? Who do you work for? Did you get drunk yesterday? That can be everything. Then if you don't know anyone, you got your first icebreaker. Hello, I don't know anyone. Who are you, by the way? And just try to weaponize the weaknesses you might have, or even if you're very shy, that can be a thing as well. Look for other shy people and be like, hey, I'm a little bit shy, and how's it going for you? And some of them will be really happy that you don't over network them. That happens to me sometimes when I go to some more introverted people, be like, network, and I just see the social battery downing completely. That's difficult. Icebreaker can be, do you have a lighter? Do you need a lighter? Want to grab some food, go for some lunch, want to play a game, whatever. How do you like the talk? Or do you know where the inside area is? Do you know where that game is, the showcase, or whatever? That could be things. Just try to find a way that works for you, that suits you, that doesn't look like you're using any weird social tactics, like this pickup artist stuff, where people are like, oh, if you like a woman, just tell her how ugly she is, she will love it. No. Give and use chances. So try to give people the opportunity to talk to you, be approachable, try not to have a resting bitch face, which happens to me sometimes as well, especially in the morning. Just try to give people any way to talk to you, approach you for any kind of events. And honest compliments, but don't be a creep. So what I try to do is if I find something on a person, like the hair color or the shirt or whatever that I like, or where I'm like, okay, I can give a compliment which is honest, and not creepy. So, because sometimes it's a good way to start, like, oh, really like the hairstyle, really like the beard, the moustache, or the way you talk, whatever, or just really like your work, your business cards, can be everything. But just be careful. If you have to think about, is it creepy when I say that? It mostly is. So, I've witnessed weird compliments on the Dokumi last year of people being like, you really got nice feet. That's a weird way to start a conversation. And that happens so many times. Or people have weird ways to be like, oh, you smell really good. No, that's basically damaging your reputation. And if you're a creep, people will avoid you at all costs. Because nobody wants to hang around with you then, and it's detrimental to your social status. Then, last of all, timing. I don't know if you can see the picture, but there's certain things that are really nice, but in the wrong moment, the worst thing ever. Like parents coming to your room, could be nice, could be horrible. I try to be respectful and calm and not stress out people, especially people that are already stressed out on conventions. I try not to rate or ambush people. So like when they just come from stage, from a panel talk, don't jump them, be like, hey, stress, network, pressure, because that's horrible. And as soon as that happens, people are like, no. Just some situational awareness, try to get a feeling or sense when to stop or when to, fall back, when to approach, and when it's better to leave or when the situation is not approachable. So on Gamescom, when I see two people talking in a business coffee area zone and stuff, I approach them slowly, have a look at one of them, try to make eye contact, and if they signal me, then I'm okay. They have like a business talk or whatever. Or sometimes even ask, is it okay if I join you guys? No, sorry, we're having a business talk. Yeah, that's okay. Just try to get a feeling for that. Let the people eat. Especially on Gamescom after party, like there's this big branch industry event and there's lots of eating and fooding and stuff. And when I was there the first time, I was like, oh yeah, networking. People told me you have to network. So I just went to people and my professor at that time said, man, they all had a very long, exhausting day. The last thing they want is someone talking, like trash talking all the time while they just want to relax and have some food. If you meet people while waiting there, like while getting there, and you just be like, oh yeah, want to sit with us, have some food, that's okay. But people want to eat, don't try to do pictures, don't try to talk, like business, socialized talk, just try to have a very relaxing kind of food, because that's most of the times the first time at the day where they can sit down and have 5 minutes of peace. Limit your fandom. I'm a very passionate Rocket Beans Games 2 lover, but if you go to them and just try to approach them and just tell them for 15 minutes how much you love them, that's a very one-sided conversation, and you leave them nothing to say then yes, thanks, yes, thanks, yes, thanks. And that's a very annoying thing, and that can be very weird and awkward for them, because all the time people come to them and go, oh, it's amazing and stuff. So what I try to do, what worked for me the best, if I approach people like influencers or people that are kind of like in a higher hierarchy, like a little bit more important than me, so just go there like, oh, you got a minute. And that gives them the opportunity to give me consent for the talk, like consent for conversation, and they can say, oh no, sorry man, I got no time, without losing their face. So they don't have to be rude to tell me to go away, and they don't have to be fake friendly and endure a minute-long conversation just to not be rude. And I try to do that, and it worked all the time. And when people say, oh no man, sorry, got no time, that's completely okay. And if they say yes, then you can go for a couple of minutes. But try not to overextend it. So when I'm not sure if there's more time to talk to that person, I'm like, oh man, don't bother you that long, so have a good one. And if they say, yeah, goodbye, then it's okay, and then you can leave, and you have double consent that the conversation was okay, and not too long, or whatever. And if they say, oh man, you don't have to leave, like I got plenty of time, boom, you got a double consent to talk to them without having to worry about, do I talk too much, do I fuck them up, I don't know. That worked so far very well. Yes, there's some other small tips and tricks. If you exchange numbers, do a quick selfie, like that one, and just send it to each other. Because then after 5 weeks, who the hell is Chris, whatever, I don't know, and then the picture helps you both remember, and it's a fun thing in a couple of years to see like, oh yeah, we met there, that's cool. I personally always write notes on business cards. That's why I like business cards with white space, so I can be like, okay, we met there, we talked about that, so it's not gone. So when I do the follow-up after the convention, I'm like, okay, that's Irina Hazardov, we talked about School of Games, talks, workshops, okay. Then personal follow-up on LinkedIn, that's what I try to do all the time. If I add someone, like, hey, we met over there, we talked about this, just so that you know. That gives me and the other person the opportunity to remember and get back to this situation even after years. So when I open the chat, I'm like, okay, we haven't written for 3 years, but I just want to approach you, like, okay, we met there, and it's kind of like a small reminder for both of you guys. Then I recently got to the point where people told me it's nice to pronounce their names right. And any person here that has a name which is always mispronounced is probably agreeing with that. Especially when it's names where I'm not sure about the language or whatever, I'm like, how's it pronounced? Just give me a chance to pronounce it properly, because people really appreciate when you call them by the right name. Humor and puns, very delicate thing, because you can always go over the edge and be the weird, funny, horrible joke guy, and that's difficult. If you have something to joke around, like with the clubbies, we met at the Indie Game Fest last year for the breakfast, and we did some jokes about the names and some Saarland, some German region-specific stuff, and that jokes kind of connect you with each other. I hope so, at least. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And gives you an opportunity to better remember the names, better remember the situation, because some inside jokes between you and friends keep that spirit alive. And that's nice, because you can really heavily rely on that. And fake it till you make it. That's what people told me for the first conventions. Just pretend you know everybody, at least nearly everybody, and people will believe that you know everybody. Maybe you know these kind of people that go to like house parties and nobody invited them, and nobody questions that because they're always there. And then you find out, like, man, nobody knows that person. I don't know, we're gonna be best friends because he's always here. It's just the mere exposure, like the radio effect. When he plays songs all over the time, you're like, oh, it must be a good song if it's played all over the time. And you must be a very nice guy if you're always at the same places where I am, and we go to the same conventions. And don't forget that we all love games. And if you have no idea how to icebreak, how to hook, how to do whatever, talk about games. If you don't like games, you wouldn't be here. So yeah, what's the last game you played? Which game do you hate the most? What was like the most outrageous thing you witnessed? What do you prefer? What do you do? What games get you emotional and stuff? You have the whole broad universe of gaming stuff to talk about, and that's a great opportunity. There's other businesses or industries like law and money stuff. That's not a nice conversation thing for a night. I don't know if people get frisky about numbers and like statistics and stuff. They certainly do, I guess. But and care about your odor. It shouldn't be said, but apparently it has to be said. There's no problem with smelling a little bit weird after a whole day of business and stuff and conventions thing. But sometimes on conventions, people come there in the morning and they smell like they died a couple of weeks ago. And it doesn't matter how good your pitch is, how good your game is, how nice you are. If I have a bleeding nose and running eyes because the smell is just a stench of death, you can tell me whatever, but it will not work. And what I always try to have, at least when I have a backpack, some deodorant, some eau de toilette, something to at least show that you try to do that. Or if you know that you sweat a lot, I try to have like a spare shirt for the evening party, just to quickly change and be like, okay, I don't smell like roses and flowers, but I don't smell like a biological weapon. Same with mouth odor. I always try to have some bubble gum, some gum in my mouth, just to chew or get. If you know you have problems with that, I try to have some like mouthwash just to prevent people from being drawn away from the smell, because that's not good. Yes, that's it. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys found some tips and advice that is suiting you. Just a quick self-ad for our Cook Again game project. I can't do the pitch now, but it's a third-person stylized action adventure set in a food-themed stylized fantasy world. If you like it, get the link tree and they find Steam and wishlist us, please. Go to Steam and write me funny jokes, if you like, about food. That's it. If you like, you can get the slides, but wait, I think the slides are on that QR code, so you have to Google that. But I think you can get the slides anyways. Otherwise, just add me on LinkedIn, Felix Köcher, ask me about the slides. And we have exactly 1 minute left. So, are there any questions or any things I can help you guys with? I take that as a very loud no. Alright, then see you guys probably at the next networking events. And if you don't know anyone, just come to talk to me, get me a beer and a cigarette, and people will just summon around me. I don't know. Alright, thanks for listening, guys.